Hey guys, it's Di. So I am making chicken enchiladas for dinner tonight and people are asking me to share a couple recipes. This was one of them. So I'm just going to do a quick and easy recipe, and thanks to my sister because this is handed down to me from her. So I am just using these Smart Chicken boneless tenderloins, and these are just the small strips of chicken. I prefer to use these in cooking the tenderloins as opposed to large breasts and that sort of thing. It's just easier for them to cook, and then also it's easier to pull them apart because I'm going to be shredding this chicken. So I'm just going to wash these up and put them over here on my pan, which I've lined in foil, and going to season them with salt, pepper, and some fajita seasoning. And then I will stick them in the oven at 375 for about 45 minutes to an hour. Okay, so I just put a little bit of salt and pepper and a little bit of this chicken fajita seasoning. I just use it basically like a rub, just a slight seasoning, and I don't even use a whole packet. I basically use like a fifth or a sixth of the packet each time I make these. So I'm going to stick these in the oven, and it'll be about almost a little under an hour for this oven. And I said 45 minutes to an hour because our other oven ran a little bit hotter for some reason, even though it was set at 375. So however long it takes your oven to make the chicken. So the chicken is about done in the oven, so I'm starting to get all my other ingredients done, and this is the recipe that my sister gave to me. So it calls for the ingredients, the chicken on there. It has 2 jars of salsa, which we just keep this in our refrigerator, so I just use salsa out of this. And then also 1 large 32 ounce of sour cream. And again, I make a smaller proportion, so I just use a little 8 ounce one because I only use 1 pound of chicken. And then I skip the cheddar cheese soup, so mine doesn't use that. I do use part of a can of tomato soup, and then I do use the shredded cheese. I don't use 2 pounds of it. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the sour cream that I'm going to use and the salsa in this bowl. I'm going to mix it all together, and then just a dash of this tomato soup. This particular one's from Target Market Pantry, but it really doesn't matter. I use every single kind, like the Campbell's and other store brands. It doesn't really matter. So I'm just going to mix this all together, and then I'm going to take the chicken out of the oven, let it cool just a little bit so it's cool enough that I can shred it with a fork and touch it a little bit. And then after it's shredded, I'm going to put it in the bowl, mix it all together, and that is going to be the center of my chicken enchilada. So this is what the chicken looks like out of the oven, and this chicken over here has been shredded. This chicken over here has yet to be shredded. Just as a side note, I don't make separate meals for the girls, but if I'm making something where I think the salsa is going to be too spicy or something like that, this is a good point in the meal where you can leave a piece of chicken out maybe and cut it up in pieces and give like a meal alternative. So they're still eating the same thing, but you're not making something different, but you're maybe cutting the meat out before you put anything spicy on it and that sort of thing. So if you have a child that doesn't like spicy salsa or any sort of, like a heavy flavor like that, you can maybe take the chicken at this point and cut it up into pieces. So I will do one thing like that for the girls, although they both do like enchiladas, but Bella tends to like spicier stuff more than Natalie. So anyhow, I'm going to take the shredded chicken. About 4 of the tenderloins makes about a cup of shredded chicken. And I'm going to take the shredded chicken and then mix it over here with my ingredients in the bowl, the sour cream, the salsa, and the tomato soup. So it's really gotten to the point where I use approximations with this just because I know what it's supposed to look like at this point, and because I make a smaller portion than the recipe that was given to me. But approximately for about a cup and a half of chicken, I use about a cup of the salsa, about 3/4 of one of these sour cream containers, and then maybe about a 1/4 of a cup of this tomato soup, because you'll use this later on too as a topping. So I'm going to mix this all together, and it should end up being like a nice reddish orange color. So I will show you what the end result is after you mix it all together. So you can see after you mix it together, it's not like a bright red color or anything like that. It's a much lighter color than like the salsa is, and the sour cream definitely makes it look like a lighter kind of reddish orange color. So this is the consistency that I know just by looking at it, the color that's going to taste the best. So I've mixed this all together, and it was about a cup of the salsa, about 3/4 container of sour cream, and about a 1/4 of the cup of the tomato soup with the chicken. So I mixed this all together, so now I'm going to roll the enchiladas so I can melt them with cheese and the topping. Now I have 4 of these 6-inch flour tortillas. These are Market Pantry brand from Target, but again, you can get them anywhere. I just stuck them in the microwave for about 10 seconds to warm them up, to soften them a little bit. I'm just going to take my mixture and put them in the middle of the enchilada. So to fill the enchiladas so that they look like that, I basically just do 3 scoops of the enchilada mix, which I'm going to try to do with one hand here. We'll see if it'll work. But I'm just going to take it and go 1, 2, and 3, and that fills up a 6-inch tortilla really nicely. So I've just rolled them in on themselves, and now the tops are all flat. So I am going to take some cheese and then also with some more of this tomato soup, and I'm going to make the topping. So with the tomato soup, I just put that on first, and I just kind of generously pour this over the middle. I don't have any exact amounts, unfortunately, but I'd say I probably use, if I used a 1/4 of the can with the mixture, I probably use about another 1/4 to a 1/2 of a can, just coating the tops of these. And you can really tell by the look like how much you want on there. So I just put a generous helping of those here in the middle, and then I'm going to put cheese on the top. Just using this Kraft Mexican taco cheese. This is my preferred type of cheese whenever I'm making Mexican dishes and that sort of thing. So I just put a helping of that on the top. I'm going to put this in the microwave to melt the cheese, and the enchiladas will be done. So I've just got some black beans going as a side over here, and then it's going to take about 45 seconds to melt the cheese on the chicken enchiladas. So after the cheese is melted, I'm going to get these onto separate plates, and then I'm just going to serve them up with some of the homemade salsa that I usually always have on hand in my fridge. It was already ready made. This is just cut up tomatoes, onions, some garlic. There's some bits of avocado in there, and then seasoned with salt and pepper with some lime juice over the top, and that is pretty much that with some cilantro for seasoning. And so we'll have enchilada, some salsa, black beans over on the stove, and some chips, and that'll be dinner. Alright, and there you have it, our quick and easy chicken enchilada dinner. Honestly, if I can do it, anyone can do it. I am not a cook. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the chicken enchilada recipe that was requested, highly requested, and I will have the pumpkin cheesecake recipe that I love making, is also super easy, coming up as well. Thanks so much for watching. Bye. And here is what the kids' portions look like. I usually give them a couple bites off of mine of pre-made enchilada, but if you are wanting to not have like the pre-made enchilada or the spicy salsa, if your child doesn't like that, this is what I do as a starter for them, is I just cut up the chicken and they get a little bit of the salsa and the beans. And that's the kids' portion.